The office was known for its silence, not the peaceful kind, but the heavy, suffocating silence that came from pressure. Deadlines ruled everything, and mistakes were remembered longer than achievements. At the center of it all stood Alina Voss, the company's CEO, sharp, precise, and relentlessly disciplined. She had built her reputation on one principle: emotions had no place in business. Employees feared her more than they respected her. She demanded perfection, and in return, she offered stability, nothing more, nothing less. Among her employees was Daniel Carter, a quiet, dependable man who had worked at the company for 9 years straight. In those 9 years, he had never taken a single day off, not for illness, not for vacations, not even for personal emergencies. He arrived early, stayed late, and never complained. But what most people didn't know was that Daniel was a single father. Every morning before sunrise, he prepared breakfast for his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. He braided her hair badly at first, better with practice, and walked her to the bus stop before rushing to work. Every evening, he returned home exhausted, but still found the energy to help her with homework, cook dinner, and tuck her into bed. To the office, he was just another employee. To Lily, he was everything. One morning, for the first time in 9 years, Daniel didn't show up. It started the night before. Lily had developed a high fever, one that didn't break, no matter what he tried. By midnight, she was shivering, her small body burning with heat. Daniel sat beside her bed, worry etched into every line of his face. He checked the time. 2:17 a.m. He had a choice to make. For 9 years, he had chosen work. This time, he chose his daughter. At 3 a.m., he sent a brief message to HR. My daughter is very sick. I need to take a day off. It was the first time he had ever written such words. Morning came quickly. At the office, whispers began almost immediately. Daniel didn't come in today. Seriously, after all these years. Maybe something big happened. When the news reached Alina, her reaction was immediate and cold. Unacceptable, she said, her voice cutting through the room. 9 years without absence doesn't earn exceptions. It sets expectations. Her assistant hesitated. He said his daughter is sick. Alina didn't even look up from her tablet. We all have personal lives. If we let one exception slide, we lose discipline. Prepare the termination notice. By noon, Daniel Carter, an employee who had given nearly a decade of unwavering loyalty, was fired for taking one day off. He didn't argue. He didn't beg. When he received the call, he simply said, I understand. And then he hung up. Back at home, Lily was sleeping more peacefully. Her fever had finally started to drop. Daniel sat beside her, staring at the termination email on his phone. For a brief moment, the weight of everything hit him: fear, uncertainty, anger, but he pushed it all down. He had been through worse. Daddy. Lily's weak voice called. He turned instantly. I'm here. Did you go to work today? He smiled softly. No. Today, I stayed with you. She reached for his hand. Good. That one word made everything worth it. The next evening, something unexpected happened. Daniel received a call, not from HR, not from a recruiter, but from an unknown number. Mr. Carter. The voice on the other end said. Yes. This is Marcus Voss. I'd like to invite you to dinner tomorrow evening. Daniel frowned slightly. I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong number. I don't, the man replied calmly. Please come. 7 p.m. I'll send you the address. Before Daniel could respond, the call ended. He stared at the phone, confused. The name felt familiar, but he couldn't quite place it. The next day, curiosity got the better of him. He put on his only suits, lightly worn but still neat, and arranged for a neighbor to watch Lily for a few hours. Then he headed to the address he'd been given. When he arrived, he froze. It wasn't just a house, it was a mansion. Inside, everything was polished marble, warm lighting, and quiet elegance. A staff member guided him to the dining room, where an older man stood waiting. Mr. Carter, the man said, extending his hand. Thank you for coming. Daniel shook it hesitantly. Yup, Marcus Voss. The same. And then it clicked. Voss, Alina Voss. You're her father, Daniel said quietly. Marcus smiled faintly. I am. Daniel's confusion deepened. Why am I here? Because Marcus said, gesturing for him to sit. I wanted to meet the man who chose his daughter over his job. Asterisk, Daniel blinked. You know about that. Asterisk, I know everything that happens in that company, Marcus replied. It may have my daughter's name on the door, but I built it. Dinner was served, but Daniel barely noticed the food. I don't understand, he admitted. Why does this matter to you? Marcus leaned back slightly, studying him. Because 9 years ago, he said slowly, I made the opposite choice. Daniel stayed silent. My wife was sick, Marcus continued. Very sick. I had a meeting one I thought was critical. I told myself I'd visit her afterward. Asterisk, he paused, his voice tightening just slightly. Asterisk, she passed away before I got there. The room felt heavier. I built an empire, Marcus said, but I lost what mattered most. And I see my daughter walking the same path, making the same mistake. Asterisk, Daniel shifted uncomfortably. She was just doing her job. Asterisk, no, Marcus said firmly. She was forgetting how to be human. There was a long silence. And you? Marcus asked. Why didn't you fight the termination? Daniel looked down at his hands. Because my daughter needed me more than I needed that job. Marcus nodded slowly. Exactly. Asterisk, the next morning, Alina arrived at the office like any other day, sharp, focused, and unaware of what had already begun to change. Asterisk, her assistant approached cautiously. There's something you need to see. She handed over a file. Inside was a single page. Asterisk, a transfer of executive authority. Signed by Marcus Voss. Alina's eyes widened slightly. What is this? Asterisk, he's stepping back, the assistant said. Effective immediately. Asterisk, and asterisk, he's appointed a new advisor, someone who will have direct influence over company policy. Alina flipped the page, and there it was. Daniel Carter. That's not possible, she said, her voice tightening. Asterisk, at that exact moment, the office doors opened. Daniel walked in. Same calm presence. Same quiet confidence. But everything had changed. Their eyes met. Asterisk, for the first time, Alina didn't see an employee. She saw a man she had misjudged. Mr. Carter, she said carefully, I assume there's been some misunderstanding. Asterisk. Daniel shook his head gently. No misunderstanding. Silence spread across the room. You fired me, he continued, for choosing my daughter, and I accepted that. Asterisk, Alina straightened. This is a business. Decisions have consequences. And so do values, Daniel replied. That hit harder than she expected. Asterisk, what do you want? She asked. Asterisk, Daniel paused, then said quietly, change. The word lingered. Your company runs on fear, he said. People show up, but they're not loyal, they're afraid. And fear doesn't build anything lasting. Asterisk, Alina crossed her arms. And you think compassion does? Asterisk, I know it does, Daniel said. Because I've lived it. Another silence. This one different. Less hostile. More uncertain. Asterisk, for 9 years, Daniel continued. I gave everything to this company. But one day with my daughter, that's what mattered most. And if your company can't understand that, it doesn't deserve people who do. Asterisk, Alina looked at him. Really looked this time. Not as a CEO. Not as someone in power. But as a person. For the first time in years, doubt crept into her certainty. Asterisk, what are you proposing? She asked. Daniel took a breath. Flexible policies. Real support for employees. Understanding that people have lives outside these walls. Asterisk. And if productivity drops? She challenged. Asterisk, it won't, he said calmly, because people work harder for respect than they ever will for fear. The room stayed quiet. Finally, Alina exhaled slowly. Asterisk, you're asking me to change everything I've built. Asterisk. Daniel met her gaze. I'm asking you to make it better. Asterisk, that night, Alina sat alone in her office long after everyone had left. Asterisk, for years, she had believed she was strong, because she never let emotions interfere. Asterisk, now, she wondered if that was her greatest weakness. Asterisk, the next morning, the company received an announcement. Asterisk, new policies, family leave, flexible hours. Asterisk, support systems that had never existed before. Employees read the message in disbelief. And at the bottom, one line stood out. Asterisk, because success means nothing if it costs us the people who matter most. Asterisk. Weeks later, Daniel returned to work not as just an employee, but as someone who had changed the company's direction. Asterisk, and Alina. She changed too, not overnight. Asterisk, but slowly. Intentionally. Asterisk, because sometimes It takes losing something to realize its value. Asterisk. And sometimes, it takes a single day to change everything.